The flight from Denver to Washington, D.C. begins like any other quiet chatter. The soft whir of overhead fans, passengers settling into routines they've lived 100 times before. But in the middle of the cabin, by the window, sits a woman who seems almost too calm for the chaos around her. Seat 13F becomes a small world of silence as she lowers her hood and leans back, her posture controlled, her breathing steady. She blends into the crowd so naturally that no one gives her a second glance, except a curious boy who keeps staring. At the thin, curved scar on her wrist, one that looks strangely like the mark left by a flight helmet strap. As the plane climbs, turbulence hits hard. People gasp, cling to seats, whisper prayers, but the woman doesn't move. Not a flinch, not even a deep breath. She listens to the engines, counting the rhythm under her breath, the way only someone trained to read aircraft vibrations would. Her calmness is not normal, it is practiced, disciplined, worn like armor when the plane stabilizes. She closes her eyes to rest, and that's when the first sign appears. A faint, distorted signal crackles through the cabin's PA system for half a second, too quick for normal passengers to notice, but impossible for her to miss. It's military encrypted chatter, the kind used only during high-alert operations. Her eyes snap open, her breathing shifts. Something inside her wakes up the instincts she buried years ago. Then the signal repeats. Someone out there is calling for backup. But not just any backup, they're using a specific, encrypted format tied to a single retired pilot. A pilot whose call sign she thought would never be spoken again. Falcon 01. Years ago, she had been a legend in the skies, one of the youngest pilots to ever sit inside an F-22 Raptor cockpit. Her reflexes, her instincts, her precision during night operations earned her a call sign that carried weight across every Air Force base. Falcon 01. It was a name whispered in respect, sometimes in fear, always in awe. But after a classified mission went wrong, details hidden under black ink and locked files, she vanished from military life without a trace. No farewell ceremony, no final flight, no explanation. She simply disappeared into civilian air, and she planned to keep it that way. But on this flight, at 32, sitting quietly in seat 13F, her past finds her. Minutes after that strange encrypted signal, two F-22 Raptors suddenly appear outside the commercial airliner's windows, slicing through clouds like silver arrows. Shocked gasps ripple across the cabin. People scramble to the windows to take pictures, rows filling with whispers. Why are fighter jets escorting us? Is something wrong? But only one person knows the truth. The lead Raptor banks gently, angling its fuselage toward the plane so everyone inside can see a handwritten white marker streak near the cockpit. 4 words, "Welcome back, Falcon 0-1. Her heart stops as she stares at the message. Every buried memory slamming back into her like turbulence. Late-night missions, oxygen mask pressure, the heartbeat of the jet beneath her hands, and the familiar voices of the wingmen who once trusted her with their lives. The passengers see only a strange military gesture, but she knows exactly what it means. Her former squad has recognized her call sign, recognized her, and if they are here, the situation outside is far more dangerous than anyone inside this aircraft realizes. The commercial pilots initially think the F-22s are simply performing an escort drill, but the moment they switch to the encrypted channel, their faces drain of color. The radar screen flashes with a pulsing red mark and unidentified aircraft moving at an unnatural speed toward U.S. airspace. No transponder, no communication, and carrying a heat signature far too large for a civilian plane. It's a threat, a deliberate one, and it is getting closer every minute. But something else shocks them even more. A small signal is pinging from inside their own aircraft. From seat 13F. The captain hesitates before sending a flight attendant to investigate. The attendant approaches the woman with nervous steps, unsure what she finds. When she reaches her, She speaks in a whisper meant only for emergencies. "Ma'am, the cockpit is asking for you, immediately." The entire row turns to look at the woman who until now blended into the background. The quiet girl with the hood. The passenger who didn't react to turbulence. The one who seemed almost too calm. She stands slowly, with the posture of someone who has answered orders her whole life, unseen beneath her skin, embedded in the scar on her wrist. A tiny military-grade transponder awakens, a device she thought had been disabled long ago. The Air Force installed it during a classified mission, a failsafe meant to identify elite pilots in worst-case scenarios. The F-22s outside didn't find her by accident. They found her because the sky itself recognized her. As she walks toward the cockpit, passengers whisper, confused and anxious. No one understands what's happening, but the F-22 pilots do. Their call sign, her call sign, was activated, and they need Falcon 01 to return to the fight. Because the enemy aircraft closing in cannot be stopped without her. The cockpit feels different the moment. She steps inside, tense, cramped, filled with alarms blinking in urgent red. The two commercial pilots look overwhelmed, their hands shaking as they try to steady the aircraft. Radar screens show the rogue aircraft drawing nearer, weaving in a pattern that signals experience, aggression, and hostile intent. The captain hands her a headset with trembling fingers. "Ma'am, they asked for you by call sign." She slips it on, and in an instant, her entire presence transforms. The quiet passenger is gone. Her shoulders straighten, her gaze sharpens, and her voice becomes steady, cold, controlled, unmistakably military. "This is Falcon 01, she says, the words falling from her lips like a command she was born to give. "Patch me through to Raptor lead." The F-22 pilots respond instantly. Their voices crackle through the headset, relieved, almost emotional. "Falcon 01. This is Raptor lead. We've been waiting for your signal." She takes command without hesitation, analyzing enemy flight paths, wind patterns, and the commercial plane's vulnerabilities in seconds. Outside the window, the Raptors shift formation the moment her instructions land, breaking away from escort position and moving into tactical intercept lines. Passengers watch from their windows as the fighter jets tilt, dive, and streak ahead like blades cutting through the sky. They don't know that the maneuvers are hers, that every adjustment, every defensive angle, every split-second calculation is a reflection of her mind. Inside the cockpit, the commercial pilots fall silent as they listen to her work. Her voice gives them stability. Her commands give the Raptors purpose. Her instincts, those she thought she buried, return with frightening ease. The sky recognizes its own warrior, and the Air Force has its leader back, even if only for one last mission. The rogue aircraft finally breaches visual range, a dark, predatory silhouette cutting through the clouds with purposeful speed. Its unregistered weapons pod glows faintly, confirming what the intelligence feared. This intruder is armed and prepared to strike. The F-22 Raptors surge forward under her command, the sky vibrating with the roar of afterburners. Inside the cockpit of the commercial plane, she watches the battle unfold from radar updates and fractured comm signals. Her voice remains the center of gravity for everyone listening, calm, low, unshaken. "Raptor 2, adjust altitude. Lead Titan Vector. He's baiting you for a vertical climb trap." She predicts the rogue pilot's moves with razor-sharp precision, calling out patterns even before they appear on radar. It's as if she can feel the battle in her bones. And then, just when the intercept seems within reach, disaster strikes. A shrill warning erupts in her headset. Raptor 2 is hit. Engine 1 failing, going down. The falling F-22 spirals, the pilot struggling to steady himself as clouds blur past. Panic flares in the commercial cockpit, but she doesn't allow it to touch her voice. "Raptor 2, listen to me," she says, tone firm, steady as steel. "Switch to auxiliary control." Angle 30 degrees left. Do not fight the spin, guide it. Her words anchor him. Foot by foot, second by second, the Raptor levels out enough for a controlled glide. The rest of the squad uses the opening she created to force the rogue aircraft into a defensive retreat. It is intercepted and neutralized miles away, leaving the skies safe once again only when the final threat symbol disappears from the radar. Does she allow herself to exhale? The commercial aircraft descends toward Washington, accompanied by the 2 remaining Raptors, an escort reserved only for national treasures. Passengers peer out the windows, realizing the woman in seat 13F has saved their lives. Some clap, some cry. A few simply stare, awestruck, at the quiet hero they overlook. As the plane lands, the captain turns to her with gratitude in his eyes. "Ma'am, we wouldn't be here without you." She removes the headset gently, hands steady, eyes distant. She doesn't bask in the praise. She simply nods. Outside, the F-22s break formation and rise toward the clouds. Giving her a silent warrior's farewell, she steps into the terminal alone, hood up once more, ready to disappear back into the world. But one truth follows her like a shadow. She may have walked away from the Air Force, but the sky will never stop calling Falcon 01.